held responsible for your actions.
He says the task force began in October of last year. Sophia Hall, 1010 wins at 92.3 FM in Suffolk County, Long Island.
Well, in the words of the immortal Willy Wonka, and I'm talking about the Gene Wilder version, hold your breath, make a wish, count to 3. That's what the folks were doing yesterday, as it was time to start writing your New Year's wish on a piece of Times Square confetti.
You don't have to wait for the ball to drop to make your New Year's Eve wish. Grab a piece of confetti, write it down, and hang it up for all to see in the center of Times Square. And it'll be one of the pieces of confetti falling from the sky when the ball drops at midnight on New Year's. Sharon from New Jersey is at the front of the line.
I think this is wonderful. It's a great idea. I couldn't wait to get here. And I've already done about 10, and I'm continuing.
And she's not the only one writing her wish down. Kate came all the way from Rhode Island.
Oh my God, it's so much pressure. I feel like so much weight is on my shoulders to make the right wish.
You have until December 28th to come up with a good wish or 5 and add it to the giant pile of confetti that'll cover Times Square at the start of 2025. Mary Lynn Buckley, 1010 wins on 92.3 FM in Times Square.
Well, they're back. AC/DC back on tour for the first time in 10 years. We're going to tell you where the boys are headed. And do we get a New York area show? 1010 Wins Entertainment's coming up next.
The best AI assistant isn't one that knows the whole world. It's one that knows your world. A custom assistant built on Watson X with IBM's Granite models can leverage your trusted data, be easily trained on your workflows, and integrate with your apps. They can be tuned to do just what you need, because the more AI knows about your world, the more it can help you do. Learn more at ibm.com/productivity. IBM. Let's create.
Shop Black Friday deals now at Lowe's. Get up to 50% off select major appliances. Plus, take an additional 10% off when you buy select major appliances. And get 2 free select tools with purchase of a select combo kit or battery kit from brands like Cobalt, Craftsman, and DeWalt. Hurry and shop these savings only for a limited time, because Lowe's knows deals. Valid 11/28 through 12/4. Cannot be combined with additional discounts. See Lowe's.com for more details and qualifying items. While supplies last, selection varies by location.
This holiday season, Capital One reminds you to give yourself the gift of 1.5% cash back with the Capital One Quicksilver Card.
Can I earn 1.5% cash back on birds?
Birds?
What if you sent your true love 2 turtle doves plus a partridge in a pear tree?
Sure, but why would anyone want that?
The song was very convincing.
Earn 1.5% cash back on all your holiday purchases with the Capital One Quicksilver Card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
1010 wins.
Gotta know what's happening in my city.
A news source that you trust.
You're my favorite.
I think it's good to know what's going on in the world. 1010 Wins.
On 92.3 FM.
Well, it's been 10 years, and the boys are finally back. AC/DC announcing their 2025 Power Up Tour on Instagram yesterday. They're going to do 13 shows starting in Minneapolis in April. Going to be 12 U.S. cities and Vancouver. This Power Up Tour is an extension of their European tour this year. Bad news is, it doesn't look like they're going to be in our area at all. Closest they'll get is Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. Come on, AC/DC, you got to come to New York. What's going on?
Entertainment on 1010 Wins is sponsored by Shulman and Hill, New York's injury lawyers.
Go to hurtny.com.
That's hurtny.com.
There's one number you need to know. You're injured and it's somebody else's fault. It's all nines.
The number is 212, all nines.
It's the number you call when you want justice. Nobody cares more about their clients than Parker Wakeman. Nobody. If you need real help, real fast, you call the nines. Parker Wakeman has won billions of dollars for their clients, and they can help you too. Call Parker Wakeman. Tough lawyers, easy number. It's all nines. That's 212, all nines.
Let's do some top stories next.
It's time. Shop Black Friday savings now at Lowe's. Shop now and get up to 50% off select major appliances. Plus, get an extra 10% off Whirlpool major appliances, like the new Maytag front load laundry system with a Pet Pro filter that lifts and captures pet hair from clothes. Lowe's knows deals. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid 11/6 to 12/4. Selection varies by location. See Lowe's.com for details.
My friends, the city never sleeps, and neither do we. New York's only all-news station. We're here for you 24 hours a day.
The News Watch never stops. This is 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM. You give us 22 minutes, we'll give you the world.
Good morning. We're at 34 degrees at 7:40 on this Tuesday, December 3rd. I'm Scott Stanford. Here's what's happening. A fire on the Upper East Side last night kills one person and injures 6 firefighters. Closing arguments continue in the Daniel Penny chokehold trial. The jury can get the case later today. Memorial services last night and this morning on Long Island for the Israeli-American Omer Nutra, who was confirmed dead by the IDF. Governor Hochul orders flags at state facilities to be flown at half-staff. A woman in Bridgewater, New Jersey was murdered 27 years ago. The case went cold until the suspect was arrested in Canada and brought to New Jersey last week. And for the very first time, believe it or not, the city of brotherly love holding its first Rocky Fest. It was this day 48 years ago. The ultimate underdog hit the big screen. Checking sports, Devils beat the Rangers. The Nets lost to the Bulls. Monday Night Football, Broncos beat the Browns. AccuWeather, well, it's kind of same as yesterday. Clouds and sun, high around 41 degrees. Winds News Time, 7:41 Tuesday morning. Let's get you back out to the roads. How we looking, Karen Stewart?
In Westchester, you're not paying attention. The southbound Hutch is closed. At Mill Road, exit 9A in New Rochelle, it's been closed since 3:15 a.m. This is a New Rochelle. We got an accident investigation going on there. We are slammed on the southbound and northbound side of the Hutch into exit 9A. Take the New England Thruway. In Rockland, the southbound New York State Thruway approaching exit 12 for West Nyack has an accident on the shoulder. The southbound Palisades north of exit 15 for Stony Point has a broken down vehicle in the right-hand lane. Long Islanders, if you're traveling the Sunrise Highway, eastbound Sunrise Highway at exit 46, we got an accident blocking the left lane there. That northbound Route 110 accident, VLIE in Huntington, is gone. So all lanes there have been reopened. New Jersey, both directions of 440 have the left lane blocked south of Communipaw Avenue in Jersey City with a down traffic signal. Take Kennedy Boulevard instead. And as we check what you need to know about the bridges and tunnels, the inbound George is 45 minutes. For the Palisades, it's 25 minutes. The Lincoln is 45, and the inbound Holland is an hour. Our next report's in less than 10. I'm Karen Stewart, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Well, a deadly fire on the Upper East Side of the city last night. One person is dead. 6 firefighters have been injured.
A person was found dead on the floor of the hallway, the 5th floor of this 6-story building. Again, it's the 5th where the fire began. Initially, we do not have any identification of the person who died. We know this: massive fire, intense flames. 140 firefighters battled this for about 90 minutes. Juan Cuervo lives in a building across the street.
They put it out, but then like a minute later it came back, so like they weren't able to put it out right away. And then it was like raining glass because they were just breaking all the windows.
And the blaze under control by 9 last night, but fire crews were here all night. They're keeping an eye on hot spots in the building and working to determine the cause of this 3-alarmer. Pretty extensive damage on the top floors here. At least 24 people have been displaced. Glenn Schuck, 1010 Wins, 92.3 FM, here at 82nd in York.
Wins News Time, 7:43. We could see the jury getting the case today in the Daniel Penny chokehold trial as closing arguments continue to wrap.
Prosecutors told the jury Daniel Penny used way too much force for a way too long in way too reckless a manner. The jury watched graphic video again as Penny held Jordan Neely by the neck on the floor of the F train until he stopped moving. Prosecutors say it wasn't necessary to use deadly physical force, even though Neely was ranting and angry. The defense cast doubt on the death by choking, citing drugs in Neely's system and an existing medical condition. And they questioned the medical examiner's findings, telling jurors if the prosecution's own experts have doubts about pressure being applied, why shouldn't you? Juliet Papa, 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Penny facing up to 15 years in prison if he's convicted of manslaughter. Well, it's been 27 years, and the case had gone cold. Now a Canadian man has been arrested in the 1987 murder of a 23-year-old woman from Bridgewater.
Robert Creeder is charged with first-degree murder 27 years after Tammy Tigner was killed near a Bridgewater hiking trail. Assistant Somerset County Prosecutor Mike McLaughlin says there was DNA.
We tried to have that DNA tested in the past. It's just that DNA was not scientifically advanced to the point where it is now.
Last year, they were able to figure out that Creeder's DNA was found on Tigner's body.
The last person who saw Tammy alive saw her get into an orange van, and that became key to our investigation after the DNA hit.
Because Creeder had access to an orange van through his job, Tigner's mom called prosecutors on the anniversary of her death every year for an update. Now she has one. Mac Rosenberg's 1010 Wins on 92.3 FM.
Well, Governor Hochul and other elected officials are set to attend a memorial service this morning for Israeli-American Omer Nutra, who the IDF confirmed was killed by Hamas during the October 7th attack. That memorial scheduled for later this morning at Nutra's home synagogue in Syosset. Last night, there was a special service held in Plainview at Temple Shavrim. The Jewish community there gathering to share their grief after hearing the news of his death.
Everybody in the neighborhood, in the area, has been looking at this thing for so long, and find out that he died from day one. So it's really a tragic thing.
That memorial scheduled for later this morning at Nutra's home synagogue, again in Syosset. There was a ceasefire announced last week between Israel and Hezbollah, right? We all heard it. But then the two have indeed exchanged attacks since then. The war in Gaza rages on with no definitive plans for a ceasefire or hostage exchange.
Protesters in their thousands demanding their government make a deal after this.
Dear President Trump.
Speaking under duress in this Hamas video, American-Israeli Idan Alexander urged President-elect Trump to use his power to secure his freedom. There was also despair with confirmation of the death of another American-Israeli hostage. Posting on social media, Trump threatened that if the hostages are not released before his inauguration, they will be all hell to pay.
That's correspondent Deborah Pata. The U.S. sending more weapons to Ukraine to help in their fight against Russia. The United States sending another package of military aid worth nearly $725 million.
In a statement, Secretary of State Antony Blinken said the assistance will include Stinger missiles, ammunition for high-mobility artillery rocket systems, artillery shells, drones, and landmines. The package will also include equipment to help Ukraine protect its infrastructure, as well as training and transportation.
That's Christopher Cruz reporting. This aid is part of a surge in military assistance that President Biden announced in September. With the Trump administration coming in and the promise to unleash an unprecedented mass deportation, many elected officials here in New York are launching a campaign today to protect immigrants in the face of looming federal attacks. Assemblymember Catalina Cruz says she'd like to work to pass bills in the legislature that would guarantee New York State immigrants get a fair shake.
The biggest threat is going to be the attempt by the incumbent administration to circumvent existing law and, frankly, to use the tools of government to do so. So it is up to us, the state representatives, the state government, to push to protect those constitutional rights.
Cruz says the Access to Representation Act, which would help immigrants have access to more legal resources, would help in going a long way to supporting migrants. And the data showing the numbers of asylum seekers coming into the city has dropped, and that's moving Mayor Adams to close emergency migrant shelters in the Big Apple and 5 upstate counties. With the threat of the Trump administration canceling the federal lease, the Floyd Bennett Field complex, the mayor is also looking at alternate sites for those families. Randall's Island houses about 2,000 migrants. That location is set to close in February. Wins News Time, 7:49.